See these two stunning UI animations? They look clean, smooth, and just so professional, right? Well, today I'll show exactly how you can create animations like these step by step inside of DaVinci Resolve Fusion. And don't worry if you're new to Fusion or motion design, this is a beginner-friendly breakdown. Meaning I'll explain every step clearly, so even if you've never animated before, you'll be able to follow along and get these amazing results. Over the past year, I've taught thousands of editors how to create eye-catching effects inside of DaVinci Resolve. And trust me, if they could pull this off, you can too. And I'll even show you my own exact 3-step framework to make these clean animations. And by the end, I'll show how to combine all of this into 2 high-quality modern UI animations. So if you're ready to level up your editing game and create these 2 high-quality sharp UI animations, let's just dive in. So before we dig into Fusion, we need to understand what makes these UI animations so clean and professional. So whenever you see a stunning UI animation, I want you to think of 3 key parts. The number 1 is the design. This is the foundation. It's the layout, it's the style, it's the shapes, and it's the text, and the overall visual style of the interface. The number 2 is the animation itself. This is where everything comes to life. It's the smooth movements, scale-ups and fade-ins and transitions that makes your design feel interactive and dynamic. And the number 3 is camera movement. This is what adds depth and perspective. It's the smooth zoom-ins and tilts that make your design feel real. All of these 3 phases, design, animation and camera, work together to create that modern and high quality UI animation. So now the question is, how do we as editors go through all of these steps to create our own high quality UI animation in Fusion? Well, let me show you in DaVinci Resolve and we can do this first animation. So the first thing we're going to do is just create a project, and then we'll go into the settings, and in the settings we'll just change the timeline frame rate to 60 fps. You can also do 30 fps if that's what you prefer. I just like to use 60 fps because it gives me a much smoother look, but if you use 30 fps the timings will be a little bit different. So if you're a beginner, I'll just recommend you to do 60 fps and then we will take it from there. So now we'll just click on save, then we can just open the effects here and then go on to the effects, and then you can grab a Fusion composition and then just drag that onto the timeline itself. Then we'll just go to where it says 4 here and then decrease the length until then. Now if you click on this icon here, you can jump into the Fusion page, and when we're in here, I'll just close this line so we get a better look and close the effects up here. Always when we do Fusion animations, the first thing we grab is just a background, and we do this to set the resolution and create a background for our animation. So I'll just take this thing here, drag it into the yellow input of the media out, and we can see we have a black screen, and then we can see the resolution of the animation up here. What we can do is change the type to 4-corner gradient, and then we get this really cool looking gradient look. And we want this to be orange in the left corner, so if we click on this drop down here, we can change the colors a bit easier. Then we can just do some orange color. I'll just do a quite dark orange so it's almost brown. And then you can go to the eyedropper on this one here, hold on it, and then just drag it up to this point here, and then we made that. So that's pretty easy. Now we'll just grab another background and then connect it into the other background's output, create a merge in between, and the merge we use as layers. So the yellow input here is the background and this is the foreground. And if we for some instance want to swap the inputs, we can just click on Ctrl T, then it will be swapped, but we won't do that for now. Now I'll just grab a circle here, so we will create the 2 circles in each corner. So I'll just add an ellipse to it, and then you can see we get this really nice circle. Now if we right click on the height, you can click on expression, and what this means is if I drag it to the height here, you can see if I make this big, the other one follows along. So it just sees this value here and inputs it onto the width. So if I drag the height down, it will drag the width down as well. So I'll just do 0.3 or something like that, because this resize it down a bit so the glow will look a bit better later on. And by the way, now I'll be using my inner glow from my own plugin pack, which is called Effects Core Pack, which includes 8 other clean effects as well. It just makes the whole process a lot faster and gives you that clean pro look. The link's below, but don't worry, I'll also show you how you can do it without my plugins. Now I'll just show you how you can use it with the new inner glow, and right after I'll show you how you can do it without. So when we're on the background here, we'll just type new inner glow. Here you can see it, and we just drag up the radius just a little bit, and then we can change the color to whatever color we want. But for this project we are going for this orange kind of vibe, so I'll just take some orange color, kind of like this one, make the radius a bit wider, and then just copy this inner glow here and add it right after again. I'll just choose a light shade of this orange, make the radius a lot smaller like this, and then just turn down the intensity to 0.5 or something like that. And now you can just go ahead and grab a glow of your choice. So we can do a soft glow if we want that. Personally, I don't really like the soft glow. I use the new glow, so this looks quite a bit cleaner. So if you know something about After Effects, this is kind of like the deep glow there's for After Effects. And you can grab this completely for free if you just download the starter pack, which is also on my website. If you don't want to grab any plugins, you can of course just use the soft glow. Now we can just size this a bit up and drag it to the corners, kind of like this. Then you just copy this merge here, add it right after by holding shift and letting go, and then just drag this into the green input, drag it over a bit, down as well, and then we get this really cool look. And as I promised before, I'll of course also show you how you can do it without the new inner glow. So what we'll do now is just delete these two here. And then we can take the ellipse, just add another background like this, and then just drag this one into the other background's output like this, create a merge in between, and we'll just drag these ones out a bit, and then we can do the color we want, which was this kind of orange color like this, and then just go to the settings of the background and then just do apply mask inverted, which just inverts the mask itself. Then we can just take the ellipse here, and then you can just go into the merge 10 here, and then go to the operator and then do a top like this, and then you can see we get the inner glow there. Now we'll just press shift and space and type blur, and then we get this blur, and then we can just size it up a bit, and then it gets a bit blurred out like that. And you can grab a channel boolean and then just do this one here, and then for the operation we will just do add like this, and this just do the apply mode, which is add. It's just boost the highlights look. What you can do now is just copy all of this and add it right below like this, and then just drag the channel boolean into the output of the merge here, and now you can see everything is lit up. But now we'll just do the operator again and then do a top as well, and drag the ellipse over here into this output as well. Now we'll just change the color with the light shade, this, do the blur a lot smaller, so something like this here, and then just go into the merge and drag down the blend quite a bit like this. So this is really good. Now we have made these circles here, so what we can do is just type shift and space, do underlay, and then we can just click on FN F2, and then we'll just do circles. And then change the color to orange, for example, drag it over like this, and then just drag over all of this. And now we can move this together, and it's really good organized. Now we can just move over the media out a little bit so we have some room to work with. And the next thing we're going to make is this glassy kind of look. Now we'll just add another blur, and then we'll just take the merge here and drag in like this. And as you can see, now it looks a bit weird, so I'll just drag this one up. And then if you hold Alt and press on it, you get this pipe router, it's called. So it's a bit better organized, then you can move it what you want. It just organizes it a bit better. Now you can just drag the blur down like this into this one here, hold Alt on it, and drag the blur in the top. And if I drag up the blur size, we can do something like 30 maybe, and we can grab another rectangle in here, and then you can see now the part we want to be blurred is blurred, which is quite cool. Then we can just turn up the corner radius a little bit if we want that, just to round off the corners, and it will make it look a little bit smoother. Now I'm just going to go ahead and grab a background, and this is just to separate this from the background itself. So then you can just drag, now we'll just drag the rectangle in like this and add this to the merge here. So I'll just go to the media out and click 2. So if we want to, whatever node we want to look at, so if we want to look at the rectangle, you can click on 1 to see it on the left view here, and if you want to see it on the right, you can click on 2, for example. So I want to see the media out on the right here, so I'll just click 2 on the media out, and I'll just go into the background and choose this really dark shade of orange, so just something like this. So it's just a really brown color, and then we can just drag down the alpha quite a bit, and this is just to separate it from the background. So this looks really good. I feel like maybe we can make it a bit darker. Yeah, this is good. Now we can make a shadow for it. So if we want to make, we can add a drop shadow probably, but what I like to do is just add another background. So now we'll just move the background over here, add the rectangle to it, and add it over here like this. And then we can see, probably don't need the pipe router anymore. I'll just delete that. It was also just to show you how it works. But now you can see we have the black background, so we can just add this transform to it, over a little bit, this, and down as well, something like this. And we can just take this rectangle and drag into the merge here. And now we'll just take this rectangle here and just copy it, so Ctrl+C, and paste it as an instance, so Ctrl+Shift+V, and then which just means if we change anything on the instance, it will change on this one as well, and vice versa. This is just to organize it a little bit better, and also just to show you what an instance is. So if we take the output of the instance, we can drag it into the merge here, and then we can go into the merge and then go to settings, and then just do apply mask inverted, and then you can see it's just added behind it like this. Now we can just drag this one up and add a blur. just to blur it off. I'll just drag it up quite a bit, go into the merge here, and then just drag down the blend bit as well. So we just want this subtle drop shadow, as you can see we got now. So this is pretty perfect. So if we want to, we can just add an underlay to keep it good organized. So I'll just rename this by clicking FN F2, and then I'll just call this Glassy UI, and then we just change color to whatever. I'll just do a teal kind of color, drag it over a bit and extend it so it's over all of this here, and this is pretty good. So this is what we got so far. We got the background here, and then we got the UI glassy look here. The next thing we're going to do is just add the thing here in the left corner like this. So what we can do is just grab a background, add a rectangle to it, and add it like this, and we just click on one on it to see it, and we can just decrease the height a bit like this, drag it up a bit maybe, and just round off the corners just a tiny bit. And you might think this doesn't look like what we want at all, but just trust me. And then we'll just click here and make a gray kind of color, light gray, and then we'll just add a duplicate. So what we can do now is just do 3 copies, which means if I drag any of these down or up, you will get 3 of these. We can also do 4, for example, and we'll get 4, and then just place them evenly, and then we'll just grab transform, drag the size down quite a bit, and add it to the left one like so. And honestly, I will just drag the round corner radius up all the way. Could maybe also just make this white, go into the merge here and just drag down the blend a bit. I think that looks a little bit better. Now we'll just make this X thing here. So if we want to, we can add an underlay for this, but I'll just leave it as it is, and maybe just rename the merge to settings or something like that, just to keep it organized so I know what everything are in the composition. So now I'll just grab another background like this, add it to the settings, and then just add a rectangle to it. So I forgot to mention it, but this is the design part we're doing now. Now we're just designing all the elements, and when we are done with this, we can start animating, and then we can do the camera movements. And when we are done with the design, we'll do the animations, and then we'll do the camera move. So I'll just decrease the height a bit as well, and then we can move it over this, maybe decrease a little bit more, and the width a bit more as well. This looks pretty good. And then just align it with the lift of this thing here and add some corner radius into it. So this looks pretty good. Now I'll just make it a really dark gray color. And now I'll be using the Light Sweep Pro, which is also a part of my own core effects pack. And as I said, there's 8 other really cool effects, such as the inner glow we used earlier in this video. And if you don't want to grab the whole core effects pack, you can grab the starter pack where you get the light version of this light sweep, and you'll also get the new glow. And that's also linked below, and you can find it on my website if you want to check it out. And then if we got the new effects core pack, I'll just add the new Light Sweep Pro, move it over like this, decrease the soft edge and the width, and rotate it over a bit. You can also do this with the free Light Sweep Light, which is in the starter pack. The only limitation is if I want to add some sweep color, you can't do that on the free Light Sweep. You need to find a workaround for that. So I'll just do this orange kind of color like this, and add some soft edge back into it, and enable tint color as well, and maybe just decrease the intensity just a tiny bit, and the intensity of the edge as well, and remove the glow because we will be adding all the glows later on as well. So this is looking pretty clean. Now I'll just make the circle with the X in it. So I'll just take another background like this, take a circle, do like this, and then just do the same trick I showed you earlier. So right click, do expression, and then just drag it down to the height so they follow each other. This is pretty good. We can just drag it over like this and see if it fits. So I'll just make it a bit smaller, so we still got some room to play with. This looks quite good. So I'll just make this orange color, and then we can just add it like so. And for this one, we will just grab a light sweep as well. So we'll just grab the Light Sweep Pro. But if you don't want to grab any light sweep or anything like that, you can just leave it out. I just like the look of it. So I'll just turn down the intensity quite a lot like this, and maybe move it over a bit as well. So as you can see, this is after, this is before. I'll just enable all the tints and stuff like that. We can just drag up the intensity just a little bit. This looks pretty good. I'll just drag all of this up a bit, and then I'll just grab a text node and add it into the light sweep, grab a merge in between, and we just drag this one down, and then just make an X, and then just choose whatever font you like the X with. I like the X of the Tactic Sans, so I'll just choose that, and then just drag it over and bubble like this, and this looks pretty clean. So now if we just move this one over a bit, we can add a transform into it, and we can play with the size of it and the placement. So this was the first one. We now just add an underlay, rename the underlay to X, and then just drag it over all of this. So now we can just copy this here, add it just under like this, maybe delete the transform. We'll just copy this and paste it as an instance, and then add the merge here into the transform, and drag this one over to the merge 16 to add a merge in between. And then if we look at this, we got a complete copy of it. Now I'll just delete the X here, and then I'll just use the check mark. So that's linked in the description. All the assets I use are linked in the description if you want the assets as well, if you want to follow along. So I'll just grab check mark here, and this is black as we can see. So I'll just grab a background and then drag the media one into a background, and then add the background to the merge again. And then we just change the color to a white, and then just go into this merge here, size it down quite a bit and move it over like this. This looks quite good. I'll just go into this one here and then just drag this one down quite a lot. Then we can just do operator and do a top, which once again means we can't see it if it's out of the range of this one here. And I'll do the same for the other one. So I'll just do top on the X here. So if we go into the transform here, drag it up, we can see we can switch between the two, and this is really cool. If you want to make a slot machine or anything like that, you can do this as well. So for now we have the X just. Now I'll just make this toggle switch below. Maybe we can add an underlay for this. I'll just underlay, type check mark, and then we'll just change the color to a lime color, and then just drag it over a bit and increase the width like this. So now we can just grab a merge here and grab another background like this here, and then just add a rectangle into it. Make it quite wide like so, and just bump up the corner radius all the way. And we can just grab this ellipse here and add it like this, and add it to the background. Well, then just size up the height of it and move it over like so. And we just grab a transform, hit it below here, and just size down and add it right under like so. I think the toggle switch is a bit too wide. I'll just drag down the width a bit, and we can drag over the ellipse as well. So this looks quite good, I feel like. Now we have the nice toggle switch under as well. So now we'll just add the underlay, rename this one to toggle switch, drag it over like this, and just drag it above, maybe increase the width a bit like this, change the color to a navy. And as you can see now, got quite a big node tree already. So for the text, I'll be using the animated text pack, which is also a part of my plugins. So for this part, I'll show you how to do it with the animated text pack, but I'll also show you how you can do it without the animated text pack as well. The animated text pack is just a big time saver, so if you want to save a lot of time animating text, it's linked down below as well. So I'll just go into effects, then do templates, edit, titles, new edit, and then animated text pack. And when we're in the Fusion page, I'll do base anim. So I'll just grab a word by word. What do we want for this one? Let's just do a slide lift for the title up here, and then a slide up fade for the one under. So just move them over like this. And as you can see, we got one called base anim, one called new anim. New anim is mostly for the edit page. It's a really quick way to animate text, and you can easily change the length of the text. You can add some offset to the text. So if we want to delay the text, we can do that with the new anim as well. I'll just quickly show you. So if we do a new anim slide, we can see we get the really cool slide here. We can change the length of the animation. We can add some offset if we want to delay the animation with 10 frames, for example. We can do that. So it starts at frame 10, as we can see. Then you can choose if you want the in animation or just the out animation, or vice versa. Change the color of it, add a stroke if we want that, add some glow. You can really do a lot of stuff with it. It's just a little bit slower to render than the other one here. And when we're working in Fusion compositions, we really want the fast render times, especially if we get a lot of text animations. So that's why I use this one here. So if we just drag this one down like that, we get a merge in between, and then add it like this. And don't worry if you don't got the animated text pack, I'll show you later on. It's just easier if I add the animated text right now. So I'll just change what I want to say here. I'll just go into my other one. This one below here is, what is it? It's the slide left. So the slide left we want above here, and we'll just type doesn't work. We'll just do this if we don't got the animated text pack as well. And you'll just do this if we don't got the animated text, because we will animate it later on. So I'll just size it down quite a bit and move it over like this. Can size it up a little bit more. And then we'll just choose the font called Enter. And then just do extra bold for the one up here. And you can download Enter on Google Fonts if you want that. This one we'll just go into other one, and then I'll just copy this here, and I'll just copy this here. And what we're going to type is just I edit cheap, need help. So this is just for editors who do outreach. So you don't want to type I edit videos cheap, need help. That doesn't work. And even if it does work, the clients don't want to pay a lot. So just go on to layout now, change the type to text box, and do wrapped text box. So if we change the width or the height, it will stay in the text box. So I'll just edit over here and make the text box a bit wider, a bit less wide, and then change the font to Enter as well. make it italic and then just size it down a lot like this. And this looks pretty clean. So as you can see right now, we get this slide left like this and slide up in the bottom. And I'll show you how you can do that later on if you don't got the animated text pack, as I said before. So honestly, right now we are pretty much ready to go into the step 2, which is the animation part. Let's just go into that part. I'll just delete these two here. Now we can just copy this template here. So just click on Control C. Just click on Control C and then Control V and add it into template here as a mask. And then we'll just go into shading and go to the first one here and then right click and do de-instance, which just means if we change this one, it won't change in the other one as well. So then we'll just click on this one here. And now we'll just go to element 5, right click, do de-instance and enable it. And then we'll just go from currents to this box here and do the level to word, which means we'll do word by word animation. And then we'll just do minus 0.09 on the extent horizontally and do minus 0.01 on the extent vertically. So what we can do now is just go back into the text here. So what we can do now is, what you'll do now is just go back into the text, right click in the text box and then do insert follower. Or if you don't see that, you'll just click on the follower here or just press follower. Now we'll just go over to shading and then go to element 5, add a keyframe at frame 25, go back to frame 0 and then just drag this one down to 0 as well. Then go to the transform, add a keyframe at frame 0 on the offset, then go back into the follower 1 and add a keyframe on frame 25. And then just drag this one over a little bit to something like this, so 0.03. So then we will get this slide over like that. And then we can just go into the delay and then just do 2, for example, and then we'll delay each word a little bit. So I'll just delete this one here, even though we have styled it already, because it will make it a little bit easier if we just copy this one here and then just add it into the merge like this and change it to I edit cheap videos for .need help. And then the font we would like to do italic, and go to layout, to text box, and then just make the text box and then clip to text box. And just to wrap the text box like this down so it fits like this. And then for the anchor, you'll just do V anchor and then do top and then just size it down quite a bit like this. Maybe it's too much, something like this maybe. And then you can see all the animations come from the right, but what we want to do is for the animations to come from below and slide up. So I'll just go into the modifiers once again, go to follow or 1.1 and go to transform, and instead of 0.3 on the X axis, we'll just do minus 0.03 this. So now they will slide. As you can see, timing we want to do 1.5, and then we'll just highlight both of these, go into the spline, click on this and this one below, and then zoom to fit like this. If you see all of the stuff where you have keyframes, you can just click on this one and click on show only selected tool. This way you'll only see the node you select down here. So if I just click on Control A in the spline here, like that, you can see I highlighted the keyframes. So then I could just right click to ease and then out cubic. And out cubic is basically just a really smooth animation curve for in animations. So as you can see on the x-axis we have the time, and on the y-axis we have the size or the placement or whatever you animated. So as you can see, it goes really fast in the beginning and then it just slows down over time, which is a really smooth animation curve for things that pops onto the screen basically. So now we got this really cool animation. What I'll just do is just go into the keyframes here, remove the spline, and then for the text up here that says I edit cheap videos, need help, you can just go into that. And for this one it's the same thing, to only select tool to see the tool you selected only. So I'll just highlight this and then we just drag them over a bit where it says 5. So then we will delay the animation with 5 frames past this one here. So the animation starts at frame 5. So I'll just rename these real quick. So I'll just make this one say I edit vid and this one just say doesn't. This way I just know what it did. So I'll just highlight all of this. So now I'll just add an underlay and drag it up and drag this one over a little bit like so. Drag it up as well and this one down. And then we can rename the underlay. So I'll just make the underlay say text anim 1, and we can just change the color to, let's just do a purple color. Now we can just copy this and add it right after and add this in like this here. So now we can just highlight both of these and do like this, and then highlight these keyframes here and then just drag them to, let's just do frame 115, the first animation starts. And this one here, I'll just go into the other one here where I did the animation. and then just do this instead. Make it say, I edit fast, engaging YouTube style content. Want a shot, test edit. So it's really good to provide trials and stuff like that when you edit that to show you're a really good editor. So where it says doesn't work, we'll just say do this instead. And for this one over here, we'll just go into it and then just go to, let's just do frame 95, go to the blend and then just go to frame 115 and then just drag it down to 0. If we want to, we can add a blur as well. So I'll just add a blur like this here and then 115 and go to 95, drag it down to 0, 95, go to the last one and let's just do 15 or something. So then you can see it blurs out like that. So now we just jump into the spline and highlight both of these and then just click on both like that, zoom to fit and then Control A and then right click, do ease and then in cubic instead. It stays with the 0 blur quite a long time and then it makes the blur go up faster and faster. So it's pretty much just inverted of the other one where it goes fast in the beginning and slows down. This one goes slow in the beginning and then speeds up over time instead, which gets this really cool out animation instead. So now we have pretty much animated the text. So what we'll do is I'll just go onto the where it says I edit cheap videos and then I'll just go into the opacity and then I'll just do 0.7 to that and then I'll just do the same on the other one here, so 0.7. And then it gets a little bit less visible, which gets this kind of cool look. You can also do 0.8. Maybe that looks a bit better. I don't know. Let's try that. Yeah, let's just go for 0.8 instead. So because we made this many underlays, we can easily see what is what. So I'll just go to frame 90 and then we can animate the toggle switch. So just go to frame 90, add a keyframe on the center on it, go to frame 120 and then just drag it all the way over the other side instead. So if we zoom in a bit, you can see it a bit better. So just drag it over like that. Then you just go into the spline here, click on zoom to fit and then just mark all of this, click on S on the keyboard and then T to bring up the ease in and ease out. So for this animation, because it's what we call an intermediate animation, it's something that moves from one place on the screen to another place. We want it to be a smooth S-curve. So if we just drag this one up to 50, the ease in and the ease out as well, you can see it goes slow in the beginning, speeds up in the middle and then slows down again. So this is a super clean animation. So now I'll just animate this checkbox here. So I'll just go to frame, let's just do 95 for this one here and then go to 130 and then just drag it all the way up. Transform, we can see here the transform free. Then we'll just drag it until the check mark is in the middle. So as you can see, we instanced the check mark before, so that's how that works. Then we'll just do zoom to fit again and make the exact same curve. So S and then just drag up the ease in to 50 and ease out as well. So then you can see we get this nice animation. So that was this one we animated now, and we have animated this as well. So I think that's pretty much what we need to animate actually. So this was the second part of the clean and smooth UI animation framework, and now we're going to the third part, which is the camera movement. So what I like to do when I do camera movements is I use the DVE, which is basically just a 3D node where you can do 3D stuff. As you can see here, you can rotate it like this and all that cool stuff you can do in the 3D node. It's just pretty handy to use in here. So what I'll do is I'll just go to the first frame, add a keyframe on the set move, and then just go to frame 90 and just keep this zoom here. So zoom in a little bit, maybe something like this, pretty decent. So this is just the start zoom. So I'll just go to the first frame now and then I'll just drag this out even more. So these circles on the side is really big, and as you can see now, the background here is getting quite small. But what we need to do is we'll just go back here. Then we'll just grab a transform and then just size the background up, background 1, which is this one you see here. Then we'll just size it up all the way until it goes all the way at the edges like that. So as I said, this is the part 3, the smooth camera movement that ties everything together and make the UI animation look real. So what I'll do now is I'll just go into the spline editor when we have made the animation and then just zoom to fit, highlight the keyframes, right click and do out cubic, and then we get this lean zoom in as we want. Now I'll just copy the DVE, and if we want to, we can click on F2 and then just start zoom. The next one we'll call static zoom. So static zoom is, we'll just go to the first frame here and then remember to click on this one to just reset it, and then we'll just keyframe the first frame and go to the completely last frame, just zoom in a little bit more. So what static zoom is just a slight zoom in, just to add some motion into all of the frames. When we have done the static zoom, we'll just copy this and add it right after, and this I'll just call camera switch. So I'll just reset everything once again, and then when we see the text start animating on, let's just do frame 125, keyframe the C move and the rotations and the center. So we need to keyframes quite a lot of things, but what we'll do now, just change the X rotation just a little bit and change the Y rotation a bit as well to get this 3D look. And we can just zoom in a bit more as well if we want that. And one thing I forgot to do is just go to the one earlier and then just keyframe all of this and then just do 0, just reset it to normal. So we just go from this frame and onto this one, and it will just be a completely different look because we did the camera switch as we call it. So I'll just zoom in a bit more and drag this one over a little bit like this, so it's all the way to the side. Go to the last frame and then just drag it all the way over to the other side like that. So this is good. Now we'll just zoom to fit. Maybe it's just a little bit too much. Now we'll just do Control A and then you'll just right click and do ease and then just do out cubic. So when it do the camera switch, it does the really quick animation over like that. Maybe it's a bit too much movement. I think it's a bit too much actually. I think something like this is a bit better. So I'll just highlight everything again, right click, do ease and then out cubic. So now it's not that intense as it was before. Once we've done this, we'll just go after this one and then just do defocus. If you're in the free version of DaVinci Resolve, if you're in the studio version, you can just add a lens blur. Personally, I think the lens blur looks a little bit better, but you can decide for yourself. I'll just use the defocus so everyone can follow along. So what I'll need to do is just go to, what was it, where we got the camera switch. It was frame 25 we got the camera switch. So I'll just go to frame 24 at a keyframe and add the defocus size down to 0, go to 25 and drag it up quite a bit so everything is out of focus like that. And then just go to 180, drag it down to 0 and then Control A and then we'll just do right and just right click, do ease and then out cubic as well, so we get the quick focus again. So now we're pretty much done with the camera movement, and we will actually transition a bit back towards the design again, because now we'll just do the final touches for this animation. So what we need to do is I like to add a vignette, and then I'll just do advanced and then make the size a bit bigger and add some transparency into it again. I just like to the vignette to make it focus on this part. Now we'll add some grain as well. I'll just move all of this over a bit and then you can see we get this full looking grain. So I'll just do 1.5 on the power and that should be pretty good. So we just get this subtle grain and then we add a neo glow. Once again that, and this one I'll just change to red, so it's the red things we're tackling the most. And then as you can see we need to drag down the intensity quite a lot, a bit too harsh. I feel like something like this should be pretty good. I'll just copy this neo glow here and we can add it to the text if we want to. And then I want to add a little bit more glow to this one here, so if I remember correct, it's the one besides the one that says X. Click on one, we can see it. Yes, it's this one. I'll just add the new glow to it. We'll just click on one, we can see it over here, and then I'll just drag up the intensity quite a bit to get it to be a lot more visible. And then if I click on glow only, we can see the parts that's glowing. So I'll just want to isolate this part here. So I'll just drag up the low quite a bit until this is isolated like that. So now it looks good. You can also add some more glow to the text if you want that. I honestly like this look quite a lot. Also, if you don't want to add the neo glow, you can of course just stick with the soft glow. If we just do a comparison, I can show you why I like the neo glow. So if we just remove this one here and add a soft glow like that. So this is the soft glow on the right side and this is the new glow on the left side. So as you can see, if we zoom in, this is a lot more detailed. It looks a lot more realistic and just better overall. The only downside to the new glow is it's a pretty render heavy effect, so it takes a lot of time to render it. But honestly, I feel like we are pretty much done with the animation now, and we can jump back to the edit page and take a look at everything. I'll just go up here to playback and then do render cache smart, and then we can take a look at it. So now let's just go ahead and take a look at it. Now let's move on to the second animation, and as you can see we get this really cool gradient look on the icons which we achieved with the light sweep, and all of the text animations got that really cool Apple style aesthetic. So now let's just jump into the second animation. So we'll just start off the exact same way as we did last time by adding a fusion composition. And if you didn't watch the previous part, we did 60 fps, so the 60 fps just looks a lot smoother, but you can also do 30 fps. Let's just dive into the fusion page, so you can just press on this magic wand here and then we'll just jump in. Now we'll just grab background, and this is, as I said before, just to set the resolution and add a background for the animation itself. So this background will just change the type to foreground gradient, and then to top left we'll just do this here and then do this dark brown color, and for the top right. We'll also do a dark brown color like this. And for this one, we'll be using 3D composition. So now I'll just show you how you can do that. Grab a render 3D, and we need an image planer as well, and a camera 3D. And then if we take the camera 3D and drag into the image planer, we'll create a merge in between, and then we'll just grab the merge output and drag into the 3D renderer. And then just take the 3D renderer and drag into the background like that, and then we get a merge in between as well. So this is our 3D comp. The image planer is where our icons and stuff like that goes into. This is what turns the 2D image into a 3D scene. But first, before we dive in, I'll just go to the 3D renderer and change the render type to hardware render instead of software render. This just means it render on the GPU, which just makes for a lot faster render times. If you want even faster render time, I'll recommend you to go into anti-aliasing and then just de-enable both of these, and then you should be good to go. When we are done, you can just enable them again, but this is just a bit faster when we do the animation itself. So the animation is composed of 4 icons and then some lines and some other stuff we're going to be building. First, I'd just like to add the icons, and they are linked down below as well as the first ones. So I'll just go into my folder. Where I got the icons. So I'll just grab the chest icon, the food stall, gear, right arrow, and the treasure chest. And then we just drag all of these into Fusion like that, and just drag them up, and then just delete these merges like so. And then I'll just find this arrow and delete that. We will be using that later on. And the treasure chest, and then I'll just take this and add above here the chest piece here, and then this one will be, and then we'll take this one, which is the gear, and add it in the bottom, because this is the first animation. The food booth is third animation, and this one is the treasure chest is the second. So just add it in the right composition. So this is the left here, this is in the middle, and this is on the right, which just makes it a little bit easier later on. Now I'll just grab this gear and drag it into the image planer and add it to the camera 3D, and then just go into the camera 3D and then just drag it the camera back quite a bit like this. Then we can just go ahead and grab a background like so and add it into the image plane. This way, if we just size this one up a little bit again, just move it forward a bit, we can change the color to an orange kind of color, something like this. I feel like is pretty good. And then we just add the new light sweep Pro or the light. If you got the starter pack, you can just use the light. It works completely fine for this part as well. You don't need the new light sweep Pro for this. But if you didn't watch the previous part, the light sweep is linked down below in the starter pack on the new editor website. I'll just grab the light sweep, turn down the intensity quite a bit and rotate it so the angle is over here. And then we just add some size into it and add some softness into the edge as well, and just de-enable the glow. So then we get this really cool looking edge on it, and we get this gradient kind of look. So this is after light sweep, this is before. So as you can see, it makes quite a bit difference. So what we can do now is just copy all of this and edit each of them. This one in here, and this one we'll just add into the background like that. Do the same one above here, down this, and for this one above here we'll do the exact same thing. What we can do now is just space them out. So this one here we'll drag to the left like so. One up here we'll drag to the right, which is the booth, and the chest piece we got to add, but this one we will just drag down quite a lot. But now I'll just zoom out a bit on the camera like so, and then I'll just space them out a bit more. So because we'll add an arrow in between, we'll just move it like this. Now we can just press shift and space and type underlay and add it over here, and then I'll just type icons and just drag it all the way over and change the color to, I'll just do orange. And if we want to, we can just change the image planers so we know what is what. So this one I'll just call gear, this one will be chest, this is booth, and this here is chest. So what we can do now is just add the text below it, and if you want to, you can get some free text animations in the starter pack as well, which is linked below as I said before. Come to effects, to templates, to edit, titles, new edit, and then if we press on starter pack, you can see we get the CBC fade in, which is the one we'll be using for this. If you got the animated text pack, you will of course get the CBC fade in as well. So now I'll just copy this image plane here and add it like that, and then we should see the fade in. So I'll just move it down a bit. So I'll just go into this one and move the Y up here. So this is pretty good. And in the text, just type I. We'll just type it with Roman numbers, and I'll just type build the product and just drag it down a bit and move it over to the gear. And what we can do is we could just make this a gradient kind of look. So just add a background into it and change the type to gradient. And now if we click on 1 on the background here, we can see the gradient in the left hand view, and then just drag the lines like this. And what you're going to do now is just change the dark color of the gradient to a gray color instead. So it's a little bit more gray on the right bottom side. Now just do this to 1, text 1. I just copy this. That is right after this. This will be text 2, and I will just type packet it, and then go into text 2 here and just move it over that, and we'll just type 2 eyes. So in Roman numerals it's 2. And that looks pretty good. I'll just copy it once again like this, and I'll just type 2 market and do 3 eyes. Go into this one, make it say text 3, and just move it over. Now we can do the text. So we'll just need to move this one chess piece here. We'll just move that down quite a bit, so around here. So as if you didn't see it, I just did go into the camera and moved it down, because now we'll just add the text for this one as well. So I'll just add it above like that, add to the merge, go into the text here and rename it to text 4. And we will need to drag it down quite a bit and center it like so. And for this one, we'll just go to market strategy like that, a line under, and then we just make these two, and then GTH. Just right click to insert, and then to character level styling, click on 1 so we see it in the media player over here. And then we can just highlight this, go to modifiers, and then just size it up quite a bit, and do like this. And then we just go into the size here and drag it up a bit like so, and we just go in here and drag it under. This looks pretty cool. So now we'll just make the line that connects it down to here. So what we'll need to do for that is just grab an image planer and type line like that. And then we can just add another merge 3D in here and just drag it down like this. This is just for organization purposes. Make this white, like a complete white, and grab a polygon, add it in here, and just make a point in the middle on the left side and a point in the middle on the right side as well, like this. So this is just the line that connects the two. So now we'll just go into this one, remove solid, and we'll just drag up the border width quite a bit, and just go into image and just drag down the position. We can see if we go into the line here, the image planer, then we just rotate the Z-axis with 90. And yeah, it scales the wrong way, so we'll just go back in here and do -90 instead. So now if we change the length, it goes down, and maybe we'll just need to move this to the complete center, so just drag it up a bit, and then we should be good. And then we can go into the camera here and maybe just zoom out quite a bit, go up like this, so we can see where we need to place the line. Or just go into the line here, drag it up, and yeah, it looks pretty clean with the length and all that stuff. So we'll just size down just a tiny bit, and I think we should be pretty good now. We can maybe add a little bit more border width into it, and yeah, that's perfect. So now we can just add an underlay for the text. I'll just underlay and then rename it to text, make it a teal color, drag it over like this, and this looks good. And this looks pretty good. The line will just leave as it is, and we can add some more text animations later. So we'll just copy this here and make a text animation below that, but I'll just do this separately because it's under the chess piece. So I'll just make this text 5 and then go into the text and then make it say this is a part of business playbook. And then I'll just go back onto the camera here, just drag it down there a bit more. So we can take this, drag it even more down like that, because we'll be adding an arrow that goes up later on. And we can maybe size this up a bit if we want to. I think this should be pretty good. This should be pretty good. Now I'll just go on to the gradient here. So I'll just do radial instead. So if we click on 2 on this one, we can just see the text itself. And one thing I forgot is making the right font, and that's just do enter. Honestly, this one I think we'll do tactic sans for that one. So I'll just do tactic sans medium italic, and then just size it down quite a bit. All of the other ones we'll just do enter. And I think we'll just do semi-bold. Do that for this one as well. Semi-bold. Semi-bold again. And if we just go back up to this one, what I wanted to show you is we'll just add this in the middle here, which is the gray part, and that will just make a light kind of orange like this. And then this one will just drag to the side, and this will just make dark orange instead, like that. This looks pretty good. What we'll do now is just add the arrow I talked about earlier. So just copy this, do like that. And then we just go into the media pool and grab the right arrow. And honestly, I actually like the look, so I'll just make it radial up here and do like that. And if you got the core pack, what you could do now actually is just add an inner glow, but this isn't necessary at all. It just gives a pretty nice looking look. So we just take the eyedropper and do the brightest part here. And then we just get this look around the edges. And as I said, it isn't necessary at all. I just like the look of it. What I want to do now is just do -90 here. -90. So now I'll just rotate it and do 90 like this, and maybe size it down a little bit and move it up like that. And then we can see we need to move the text below here just a little bit down, and we'll just rename this one to arrow like this. And yeah, we can just take all of this and move a bit more up, because we need to add some arrows as well to between these up here, just to transition between them. So I'll just copy a couple of these text here and add them below this. So I'll just grab this arrow here and add it like this here. And you can just go onto the arrow and just drag it up quite a bit like that, just so we can see it. And then instead of this one, just delete the arrow. Now we'll just grab a polygon and add into this one here. And for the polygon, we'll just make this arrow, just do something like this. Maybe just drag it into the middle. And I think this looks pretty clean. Now we can just take off solid, and then we can just drag up the border with a little bit. And this should be pretty good. I'll just delete the inner glow, and we can take this up here, drag it up to the top, and just drag this one down, and then just go into the arrow here, and then just go to the rotation and reset it to normal. I feel like we can probably use a little bit more border width and maybe make it a bit smaller as well, and just drag it over. So this looks good, and we can just copy this and add it above like so, and just take this arrow and drag it over to this space in between these here. And I think we are pretty much done with all the design now. And as I said before, this time we'll do it a bit different, because we'll do the camera movements before we do the animation. And this is because we got a lot of timings and stuff like that, so I'd rather do the camera movements before I do the animations itself. So all the camera movements we'll do on the camera 3D, and we'll be using transform nodes for those. So I'll just add a transform 3D, rename this to 1, and for this one just go into the camera, zoom it in quite a bit more, and then just keyframe the X and the Y here, frame 40 or something like that, and then just drag it over to this one here. So as you see, we want to start in the middle and then just light it up like that. So then we'll just zoom to fit, clicking Control A, and then right click to ease out cubic. As you can see, we get this nice light up like that. Now we can just copy this one and add it right after it, and then just reset everything, and then F2, and then make it say anim2, add a keyframe at frame 40 on the X, and go to frame 90, and just drag it over so this one is in the middle. And then zoom to fit, Control A and S on the keyboard, and then just drag up the ease in to around 50 and the ease out as well. So let's just take a look. You get up there, get the transition to the middle one, and then we'll just copy this one, add it right after, do anim3, and we can just close the spline here and open the keyframes tab, just add it like this. And then just drag this one over to frame 90, let's say, and then we get the animation, the second one. And for the last animation, and then we'll just take this one, do like this, and rename it to anim4, and then just reset everything, and then go to frame 135, a keyframe Y, and then just go to, let's just do frame 190, and then just drag it all the way down till you see this here. Honestly, probably delayed to frame 200 as he like. And as you can see, we aren't completely centered right now, but we'll just do this camera switch kind of look when we are at frame 150, let's say. So add a keyframe at 150 and 151, and then just center it like this, so it slides down, and then we get the camera switch. Then we can just jump into the spline of it and remove the keyframes, and then just Control A and then S, and then just drag up the ease in quite a bit and the ease out as well. And probably want the camera switch to be when the animation is at its peak velocity. So we'll just make the camera switch in the middle here. This is pretty good. And I'll just go to this one and zoom it out a bit more like that. So this is actually pretty good. The last animation we'll do is just click on Control, paste it, and then just copy this and paste it one more time, and then I'll just rename to this one to anim5 like that, and just rename and then just reset everything. Go to frame 190, add a keyframe on the X, and go to frame 200 and just drag it over a little bit like that, and then just mark it, do right click, and then do ease and in cubic. And this is pretty good. Copy it, paste it like that, and then just reset it. So then we just go to frame 200 and add a keyframe on the X and the Y, and on the C and on the X rotation and the Y rotation, go 1 frame later and just keyframe everything once again, and then just go to the last frame, and then we'll just zoom in a bit more, maybe like that, rotate X a bit and the Y quite a bit as well, or something like this, and then just go to the one at 201, rotate X quite a bit and the Y as well, and then just move it over a little bit, and just drag it over quite a bit like that, and then just hand it over like so. So we get that cool camera switch, and then we'll just go into it like this, to fit, Control A, right click, and to ease out cubic. So if we just go back to the edit page and take a look at it, so let's take a look. This is really clean before we add any animations and any awesome cool effects like defocus and stuff like that. So now we'll just do the animations. And for the animations, my preferred method is just using the new anim, which is a part of my FX core pack. So yeah, I like to use that. If I just add that one, we just do a size animation if we want that, angle as well, so it pops up like that. And we can add delay and all that good stuff. That's the fastest and my preferred way, but you can also just use a transform if you want that. Right now I'll just show everyone else how you can do it. So I'll just grab the transform and then just keyframe on the size on frame 0 and go frame 30, let's say. And on the first one we'll just 0 size and do the same for the angle. So we'll just make this one minus 90 on the first one, and then we'll just go to the last frame, do 360. Minus 360, because when it's spun up we want it to keep rotating. So yeah, that's pretty cool honestly. And we need to add this one before we add the light sweep, so the light sweep stays on the right place here. So that's pretty much just how you do this. Then I'll just zoom to fit, then I'll just mark these two here and right click and do ease, and then just do out cubic, so we get the smooth out cubic animation. And this one we can add for arrow as well, and this one we'll just add for the other ones as well. And then I'll just remove the angle animation for it, so it's just a size up, and we'll add this one at frame, let's just do frame 60. So right now it's at frame 60 like that. And for the booth we want it to, and then we'll just copy this transform and add it to the booth as well. And then we'll just delay this to frame, what one we want, we'll just do frame 110 like that. And then we take this one where it spins and add to arrow, and this one we'll just go to the last frame here and then delete the angle. So this animation here we'll just take it, we'll just delay it to frame 40, so it pops up, then the next animation begins and this spins up, and then we'll just copy this one and add to the next one, and this one will just start at frame 90 like that. And we will of course delay the texts as well. So the first text here, which this is the second text that says, and we'll just take the first text, and the first one will just delay, let's just delay it with 10 frames. This one will just delay with, this one will just do 150, and this one will do 110. And the last one down here, let's just take it and then we'll do 150 or something like that. So it already begin animated when we come down here, probably even earlier, from 140 maybe, yes, like that. No, let's just do 130 actually. 130 should be good. Then we just got this line here, so this one we'll just do 140, then go to the polygon, keyframe the length, and go to frame 100, and let's just do 80, keyframe it again, and then I'll just go to the first one and drag it down to 0, and then just do and then just make it cap style, this one here, and then we just jump into the spline, enable this, and zoom to fit, and then Control A, and then S, and then just drag up the ease in to around 50 and the ease out as well. Really cool. So now we got this line animating on, now we got this arrow animating on as well, and we want that to begin, and we just go into this one here, the image planer, and just add a keyframe at frame 90, go to frame 110, and just go frame 180, just drag it down quite a bit like this, and highlight it, right click, and do ease out cubic, because it's something new coming onto the screen. And then we will just go to this text animation here, and go into the keyframes, this, and delay to, let's just do 100. We'll just highlight these keyframes and delay to, let's just do 190. And then we'll just highlight these two keyframes here, hold control while marking this, and hold control while marking these up here as well. And then we can just drag them over a little to delay this animation. So I'll just delay it to, let's just do 200. So this is good. Now we'll just go right after here and add the focus. So the first switch we did, I think that was, yeah, it's here, frame 163. So I'll just add a keyframe on the defocus, make it 0, go to frame 164, and just drag it up quite a lot like that, and then just go to frame, let's just do 190 and drag it down to 0 again. Just go into the spline of it, mark all of this, right click ease and out cubic, and we can just copy this one more time, and then just go into the keyframes and to defocus, and then just drag them to the next camera switch we got, which is at frame 112, I can see here, like that. So that's really good. Now we got the defocus as we want, and then we can just add a new glow after the renderer, this, and then just change the channel to the red channel, and then just drag it down just a notch. So it's just a subtle glow we get, and I feel like this is pretty good. Looks really clean. Now we can just add a grain after this, make it 1.5. And if we want to, we can just go into this one, enable anti-aliasing again. And if we want some motion blur, we can of course do that as well. I won't do it for now because I just want to show you the animation really quick. So let's just do that. So I'll just go back to the edit page here, and then we will render it, and then we'll take a look at everything. That's it for this one. Hope you learned something. And if you want to create these animations even faster, you can grab the animated text pack or the core effects pack. Links down below. And let me know what you want me to cover in the next video, and I'll just see you then. Have a great day out there.